Hello there. Welcome to Sumit Academy. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. In this video, we shall talk about the preamble to the Constitution of India. The preamble serves as a brief introductory statement that sets out the guiding purpose, principles, and philosophy of the Indian Constitution. It reflects the hopes and aspirations of the people. It is the soul of the Constitution which defines the basic structure of the Constitution. Unlike the Constitution of Australia, Canada, or the USA, the Constitution of India has an elaborate preamble. The purpose of the preamble is to clarify who has made the Constitution, what is its source, what is the ultimate sanction behind it, and what is the nature of the polity which is sought to be established by the Constitution. By the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, it was amended to read that India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic. It secures justice, liberty, equality to all citizens of India and promotes fraternity amongst the people. A preamble is an introductory statement in a document that explains the document's philosophy and objectives. The preamble does not grant any power, but it gives a direction and purpose to the Constitution. It outlines the objectives of the whole Constitution. The preamble contains the fundamentals of the Constitution and sets out the main objectives which the legislation is intended to achieve. Although not enforceable in court, the preamble acts as an aid during the interpretation of articles when language is found ambiguous. Hence, it may be legitimately consulted for the purpose of solving an ambiguity or fixing the connotation of words which may possibly have more meaning, or determining of the act whenever the enacting part is prone to doubt. In a nutshell, a court may look into the object and policy of the act as recited in the preamble when a doubt arises in its mind as to whether the narrower or the more liberal interpretation ought to be placed on the language which is capable of bearing both meanings. In A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, it was contended that the preamble to our constitution, which seeks to give India a democratic constitution, should be the guiding start in its interpretation, and hence any law made under Article 21 should be held as void if it offends the principles of natural justice, for otherwise the so-called fundamental rights to life and personal liberty would have no protection. In Keshwanand Bharati case, the Supreme Court attached much importance to the preamble. In this case, the main question before the Supreme Court related to the scope of amending power of the Union Parliament under Article 368 of the Constitution of India. The Supreme Court traced the history of the drafting and ultimate adoption of the preamble. In the 1995 case of Union Government versus LIC of India, also the Supreme Court has once again held that the preamble is an integral part of the Constitution. The ideals behind the preamble to India's Constitution were laid down by Jawaharlal Nehru's Objectives Resolution, adopted by the Constituent Assembly on the 22nd of January 1947. The preamble says that people are the ultimate authority and the Constitution emerges from them. It emphasizes the unity of the nation and defines the objectives of the Indian Republic. The preamble declares four aims in the governance of India. The first is justice, social, economic, and political. Second is liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Third is equality of status and opportunity. And fourth is fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Let's have a look at some of the key words in the preamble. The first of these words is the word sovereign. The term sovereign means that India has its own independent authority and it is not a dominion of any other external power. In the country, the legislature has the power to make laws which is subjected to certain limitations. The second term is socialist. This was added in the preamble by the 42nd Amendment 1976, which means the achievement of socialist ends through democratic means. It is basically a democratic socialism that holds faith in a mixed economy where both private and public sectors coexist side by side. The third term is secular. This was also incorporated in the preamble by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, which means that all religions in India get equal respect, protection, and support from the state. Our fourth term is democratic. This term implies that the Constitution of India has an established form which gets its authority from the will of the people, expressed in an election. The fifth term is republic. This indicates that the head of the state is elected by the people directly or indirectly. In India, the president is the head of the state and he is elected indirectly by the people. Then comes justice. The preamble of the Constitution of India professes to secure to all its citizens political, economic, and social justice. Social justice means the abolition of all sorts of inequities which may result from the inequalities of wealth, opportunity, status, race, religion, caste, title, and the like. To achieve this ideal of social justice, the Constitution lays down the directives for the state in Part 4 of the Constitution. Then is liberty. The preamble of the Constitution of India professes to seek the liberty of belief, thought, expression, faith, and worship, which are essential to the development of the individuals and the nation. Liberty or freedom signifies the absence of external impediments of motion. It implies the absence of restraint. Liberty is the power of doing what is allowed by the law. We then come to equality. Guaranteeing of certain rights to each individual is meaningless unless all inequality is banished from the social structure and each individual is assured of equal status and opportunity for the development of what is best in him. Rights carry no meaning if they cannot be enjoyed equally by all members of the community. One of the main tasks of the constitution makers was to ensure equality of status and opportunity for all and to provide the basis for ultimately establishing an egalitarian society. They proceeded to achieve these objectives by incorporating a set of fundamental principles into the Constitution. Next is fraternity. Fraternity means the spirit of brotherhood, a feeling that all people are children of the same soil, the same motherland. The term was added to the preamble by a drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly. The drafting committee has taken notice of the diversities of India based on race, religions, languages, and cultures. Fraternity is the cementing factor of the inherent diversities. Fraternity means brotherhood, the promotion of which is absolutely essential for a country which is composed of many races and religions. The words, "We the people of India," indicate the ultimate sovereignty of the people of India. Sovereignty means the independent authority of the state, not being subject to the control of any other state or external power. The text declares India to be a republic, indicating a government by the people and for the people. It states social, economic, and political justice as an objective. The 42nd Amendment to the Constitution, passed in 1976, replaced the words sovereign democratic republic to sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. It also changed unity of the nation to unity and integrity of the nation. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, in his concluding speech in the Constituent Assembly, had said, "Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy." What does democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity, which are not to be treated as separate items in a trinity. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Liberty cannot be divorced from equality. Equality cannot be divorced from liberty. Nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. Let us have a quick look at the history behind the adoption of the Preamble. The Constituent Assembly debated the Preamble on 17th October 1949. The debates around the Preamble revolved around the name of India and the inclusion of the words God and Gandhi. One member urged the Assembly to rename India as the Union of Indian Socialist Republics, similar to the USSR. Members were not convinced with this suggestion, as they felt that it would go against the already adopted constitutional scheme. Another member sought to include "in the name of God." Many were opposed to this suggestion. It was noted that it was unfortunate to put God on vote. One member believed that inclusion of God would amount to compulsion of faith and violate the fundamental right to freedom of faith. Another proposal was made to include Gandhi's name in the preamble. A member was discontent with the already adopted draft articles, as he felt that the Indian Constitution was based on the American Supreme Court cases and the Government of India Act. He opposed any association of Gandhi with the, in quotes, rotten constitution. The amendments moved by the members were negatived. However, this was one of the rare instances of the assembly proceedings wherein the members voted on the proposal to include God by a show of hands. The assembly was divided with 41 voting in favor and 68 voting against it. The assembly adopted the preamble as presented by the drafting committee. It is interesting to know that the preamble, though the constitution opens with it, was not the first to come into existence. It was the last piece of drafting adopted by the Constituent Assembly at the end of the first reading of the Constitution, and then seated in the beginning of the Constitution. The preamble has been framed with great care and deliberation, so that it reflects the high purpose and noble objective of the Constitution makers. The objectives specified in the preamble contain the basic structure of our Constitution, which cannot be amended in exercise of the power under Article 368 of the Constitution. The preamble declares India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. It is declared that the Constitution has been given by the people to themselves, thereby affirming the republican character of the polity and the sovereignty of the people. The democratic character of the Indian polity is illustrated by the provisions conferring on the adult citizens the right to vote, and by the provisions for elected representatives and responsibility of the executive to the legislature. The socialist character of the Indian Constitution is also emphasized in the preamble, which spells out the aspiration of the people to secure to all citizens social, economic, and political justice. The preamble also affirms a determination to secure liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, and equality of status and opportunity, and to promote amongst the people a feeling of fraternity, ensuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of the nation. Well, that's all from me in this video. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering examination questions on the subject. I do hope that you like this video. Do subscribe to my channel now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And if you want to drop in a line, you will find me at sumitacademy20@gmail.com. Till later then, cheerio.